You don't need another course. You need to start. I used to think the road to success was paved with online courses. I spent thousands on them. My shelves were packed with business books that I never read, and my hard drive was overflowing with expert tutorials. I kept telling myself I was preparing, gathering intel before charging into battle. But let's be honest, I wasn't preparing, I was hiding. You think enrolling in just one more course is the key to finally getting started, but it's not. It's actually the lock on the door. It's the comfortable, risk-free prison that you've built around your goals. So if you're stuck in that endless loop of learning without doing, of preparing without ever performing, then this video is for you. So give it a big thumbs up, because together we're going to break that lock. Now, there's a reason this cycle is so addictive. It's called the illusion of progress. Every time you finish a tutorial, read a chapter, or listen to a podcast, your brain gets a little hit of dopamine. It feels like you're going somewhere. I mean, hey, you're not binging Netflix, you're investing in yourself, right? You're not procrastinating, you're strategizing. But are you really? I want you to take a look at your past week. How many hours did you spend watching, scrolling, and reading? And then how many did you spend actually creating something? That is your creation to consumption ratio. And if it's 1 to 10 or 1 to 20, no wonder you feel stuck. This is a state many of us know as tutorial hell. It's that loop where you finish one tutorial, feel a brief flicker of accomplishment, and then immediately think, okay, but now I need an advanced course before I can actually start. You learn how to build a simple to-do list app, but instead of actually building your own unique app, you convince yourself you need a course on advanced database management, just in case. This is a fancy, sophisticated form of procrastination. And it's not laziness either. It goes so much deeper than that. It's an avoidance strategy that's rooted in fear. We choose the comfort of passively learning over the scary, messy, uncertain work of actually doing. Because learning is predictable. The expert in the video has all the answers, right? There's no risk. But starting your own project, launching that business, writing that first chapter, that's terrifying. It's messy. You might fail. You might look stupid. So instead, you retreat right back to the comfort of another course. You tell yourself you're just not ready. But while you're spending all this time getting ready, the negative consequences start piling up. You're wasting time, months, even years. You're also wasting money on resources that you never actually apply. And worst of all is that quiet erosion of your self-confidence. With every project that you don't start, a little voice in your head gets louder, whispering,
"See, I knew you couldn't actually do it."
If you want to break out of this prison, you have to understand how the bars are made. This isn't just about loving to learn. It's about what you're afraid to do. So first, there is the paralyzing fear of failure and perfectionism. We use learning as a shield. We've tricked ourselves into believing that if we can just gather enough information, we can create a perfect, flawless plan. A plan so brilliant that failure is just impossible. Now, this is a total fantasy. In the real world, action is messy. Your first try at anything is probably going to be a bit of a disaster. Seriously, go back and watch my first YouTube videos. Super cringy. And you know what? That's uncomfortable, but it's the only way the gap ever closes. The fear of creating something that's less than perfect is so great that it feels safer to just keep preparing. Perfectionism whispers to you, don't start until you know everything. But here's the secret. That finish line doesn't exist. Second of all, our brains are wired to seek comfort. And passive learning is as comfortable as it gets. Watching a video or reading a book is a low energy activity. You just sit there and absorb. It feels so easy. Now, actually doing something, that's hard. It takes intense focus, critical thinking, and real problem solving. It forces you to do what you don't know. So, when you have the choice between that easy comfort of watching someone else explain the answer and the difficult struggle of finding it yourself, your brain almost always picks the path of least resistance. And that path leads straight back to tutorial hell. And then finally, a lot of us get stuck because our goals are just too vague. I want to learn code. I want to start a business. I want to get fit. These aren't goals, they're wishes. Without a specific, concrete target, you have no idea what you actually need to learn. So you'll learn a little bit of everything just in case. You're endlessly collecting tools for a house you haven't even designed yet. It's a classic case of analysis paralysis, where the infinite amount of information becomes the perfect excuse for doing absolutely nothing. So, is any of this hitting close to home? If you're over there nodding your head and you're finally ready to trade that illusion of progress for actual tangible results, do me a quick favor and hit that subscribe button, because we're about to get into the how, the practical steps to break this cycle for good. Look, the solution isn't to stop learning. It's to fundamentally change your relationship with it. It's time to switch from just-in-case learning to just-in-time learning. And this all starts with a huge mindset shift. You have to reframe how you see mistakes, because failure is not a judgment on your character. It's a data point. It's the single most valuable form of feedback you will ever get. No course can teach you what your own mistakes will. You have to start seeing failure not as the end, but as a necessary, unavoidable, and maybe even desirable part of the process. Your goal is to value the effort, not the perfection of the first attempt. And this is all part of adopting a growth mindset. If you believe procrastination is just a fixed part of your personality, well, guess what? It will be. But if you see it as a habit, a behavioral pattern that can be rewired, then you give yourself the power to change it. You can get better with taking action, just like you'd get better at anything else. And the core of this new mindset is simple. Your goal is no longer to learn. Your goal is now to build. Learning just becomes the tool that you pick up to solve an immediate problem, not a treasure you hoard for some imaginary future. You don't need to know everything to start. You just need to know enough to take the very first step. Sometimes we keep learning because it lets us hold on to that fantasy version of ourselves, the one who's amazing once she finally starts. But starting means confronting the gap between what you dream of creating and, well, what actually comes out. So don't make your first project big or perfect. Make it small. Make it bad on purpose. Make it so fast and silly that you just can't overthink it. The point here isn't to build something great. It's to prove to yourself that you can build at all. All right, let's make this real. Here's a 5-step framework that you can start using today to finally break the cycle. Step 1, the 1 action rule. For every tutorial you watch, every chapter you read, you must take 1 real-world action based on it within 24 hours. Watch a video on marketing? Go and schedule a social media post. Read a chapter on healthy eating? Go cook 1 healthy meal. This forces you out of passive consumption and into active application. No more stockpiling information. You learn, you do, that's it. Now, step 2 is define a done project, not a learning goal. Stop saying, I want to learn Python. Instead say, I will build a simple web scraper that pulls headlines from my favorite news sites. See the difference? A learning goal is infinite. A project goal is finite. It has a clear finish line. That clarity is your best weapon against procrastination, because the project tells you exactly what you need to learn just in time. You don't need a massive Python course. You just need to figure out how to make an HTTP request and parse some HTML. Start with a ridiculously small project to get an easy win. Step 3 is embrace active learning. Passive learning is just about letting the information wash over you. Active learning is wrestling with it. Don't just watch a coding tutorial. Pause the video and try to write the code before the instructor shows you how. Don't just highlight a book. Write a summary of the chapter you just read in your own words. One of the best ways to do this is to try and teach the concept to someone else, even if it's just your dog or the dumpster fire on your desk. This forces your brain to organize the information and immediately reveals where the gaps in your understanding are. Step 4, the 2-minute rule. The energy it takes to start big, scary projects can feel massive. So trick your brain. Commit to working on your project for just 2 minutes. That's it. Anyone can do anything for 120 seconds. Set a timer and just start. Open the file, write 1 sentence. Put on your running shoes. What you'll find is that starting is the hardest part. Once that inertia is broken, you'll almost always keep going. This tiny habit sidesteps the fear that makes you procrastinate. Step 5, start an accountability system. Your willpower will run out, so don't rely on it. Create some external pressure to keep you honest. Tell a friend your goal and then ask them to check in with you. Join a community of people that are working on similar things. Or post your progress publicly. Now that one is scary. Put a deadline on it. Telling the world can light a fire under you like nothing else. This raises the stakes. Suddenly, the pain of not doing the work becomes greater than the pain of doing it. For years now, you've been standing in front of a locked door, collecting hundreds of keys, courses, books, tutorials, convinced that one of them would finally let you in. But the door was never locked. It's been open the entire time. And the knowledge that you have right now is enough. It's enough to take that first small step. That perfect moment, it's never going to arrive. So stop learning, stop preparing, stop waiting, and start doing. Now it's your turn. I want you to hold yourself accountable right now. Leave a comment below with the one small, tangible thing that you're going to do this week. Not learn to do, but actually do. Whether it's writing the first 100 words of your book, creating one design in Figma, or just making that phone call you've been putting off. Declare it out loud and let's start building together. Now, if you liked this video, then I know you're gonna love this one. And tune in next week where I'll be talking about how to use ChatGPT to create a plan to make your newfound actions a success. Peace out.